Post World War II, roughly 50% of the military veterans who came home from World War II went on to become entrepreneurs, either start or acquire businesses. And today, that number is less than 5%. And so it's staggering how, you think about the greatest generation and the post World War II generation, the impact they had on our nation. And today, you just don't see a lot of military vets who become entrepreneurs, and I want to change that.
IEO Tampa Bay, Laura Webb, engagement chair for you, and joined today by another past president. This is Matt Brooks. Super thankful and grateful to have you with me. And you're actually still in Montana, right?
I am. Yeah, we are enjoying the cooler weather up here in the great state of Montana, but we'll be back to Tampa Bay week after next, and can't wait to reconnect with my EO Tampa Bay friends.
Awesome. Well, why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, share a little bit about your, family, your background, where you grew up, things like that.
Yeah, so I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. My dad was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, both small business owners, and so I guess you would say that the entrepreneurship genes run deep. But I didn't choose that path. I went to the Air Force Academy for college, and then embarked on a military career, which I thought would initially be about 5 years. But ultimately ended up being 22 years, 1 month and 3 days. And not sure quite how that happened, but grateful for the opportunity to have served our country, and proud of that. But then when I retired, I had the opportunity to become an entrepreneur, just like my dad and my grandfather. And I acquired a small business, a family business, and took over and ran that business for a few years, grew it pretty substantially, and then ultimately exited that business to a strategic acquirer. And now I've launched a new venture called Second Echelon Capital, where I invest in military veteran owned and led businesses. I believe strongly in the power of entrepreneurship in terms of changing communities, making an impact, and ultimately changing lives. And I want to help more military veterans become entrepreneurs. Interesting fact, post World War II, more than 50 or roughly 50% of the military veterans who came home from World War II went on to become entrepreneurs, either start or acquire businesses. And today, that number is less than 5%. And so it's staggering how, you think about the greatest generation and the post World War II generation, the impact they had on our nation. And today, you just don't see a lot of military vets who become entrepreneurs, and I want to change that. Married for almost 28 years, and two adult children. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Nice, nice. Thank you for that. Okay, what made you join EO?
Great question. Desperation made me join EO. I left an organization in the military where I had, thousands of people working for me. I had a number of peers and fellow officers that I had served with that I could reach out to, and I flipped the switch and I became an entrepreneur and running a business with 17 employees, and quickly realized like I didn't have anybody to talk to, and my wife didn't want to hear about it. And so in a call to a dear friend, also a military veteran who's a member of EO Fort Worth, he said, as I was whining about my challenges of, dealing with the business that day, he said, "Hey, I don't have any advice for you on your business, but I do have some advice for you. You need to go look at an organization like EO, and you need to be a part of that, a community of like-minded individuals." And so I joined on the spot in January of 2019, almost 7 years ago, and it's been an awesome journey thus far.
Nice. Nice. All right, now we'll talk about your favorite memory.
Yeah. I have a lot of them. When I was chapter president, from 2023 to 2024, we planned really a chapter retreat that I thought was amazing. My predecessors had all had chapter retreats, but they were more local and a little bit smaller. And we planned this event down at the Ritz, Sarasota, and had some great speakers come in. And I guess it was just that moment of like being in chapter leadership, looking across that room at the 50 to 60 attendees that we had there, and just feeling proud to a have pulled that off and put that together, but b that that so many people attended and were interested in really digging into personal and professional growth. And that was a essentially as I was stepping off the stage of as chapter president, that just gave me a real it was really rewarding.
Yeah, it should be. Oh, there's a lot to be proud of. I remember that event. It went really well. So thank you for all your work on being on our board. So super grateful. Do you have a book or a podcast that either now or in the past has had an impact on you, personally and professionally?
Yeah, many. I would say two books that immediately come to mind. The first is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I recently read that, and it was profoundly impacting to me. Particularly, his you know immense challenges, like in terms of like being in the concentration camps during World War II and surviving that experience, and how vivid he recounts that. But also just the lessons of like love and relationships, and how there's a saying he can and I may screw this up, but the saying is like, he who has a why can endure any how. And like that to me was really powerful. And so that would be a book that really impacted me. And then the other one is Die with Zero. And Die with Zero was recommended to me by an a fellow EO member. And, ultimately it just reminds us that like life is finite, and, we should value experiences just as much as we value things. And that's been, something that has really impacted me as well.
Love that. Thank you. Do you have any advice for your younger self?
Take more risks. As a military veteran, when I was in the military, it's amazing how veterans are, really willing to, essentially go out there and put their lives on the line for our country. But, so I took a lot of, theoretical like risk with my life, but I didn't, I didn't necessarily take as many risks like with entrepreneurship, right? And I think that, something I tell my now grown children is like, hey, you're young, you have an opportunity to bounce back from these things, so take more risk. And yeah.
And thank you so much for your service. We do appreciate you
Oh
for
yeah, my
that.
pleasure.
So, yeah. Anything keeping you up at night right now?
No. I sleep well at
Love it.
I sleep well at night. Look, there's a lot. We face a lot of challenges in our country, but I continue to believe that the United States of America is the greatest country on earth. I'm a perpetual optimist. And believe that despite the challenges we face, that like, look, the future is bright. I guess I would say that all of us kind of just need to dig into areas where we feel comfortable, and try to make a difference, right? Like improve your communities, try to make a difference. And that's what I guess I'm focused on with with my latest venture is like, look, I know I might not be able to change the world, but maybe I could change, a few lives along the way and invest in some folks that could, be great entrepreneurs and do those things. And so I'm just choosing to take action where I think I can have an impact.
Yeah, amazing. All right, my final question. I know you know this one. We've had this one together before. So we're sitting here a year from today. What are we celebrating?
Oh, I hate this question, Laura, because I celebrate every day. I
I
really
love
do.
that.
I have been so blessed and fortunate, but I think so. What I hope to accomplish, in the next year, and is to continue to grow second echelon, to make a few more investments in other military veteran owned and led businesses, and to guide those businesses and those entrepreneurs to success. Certainly that would be one. And then secondly, I just celebrating the fact that, like, me and I'm with them. It would be a thing too. But yeah, I don't I would say I don't look forward to celebrating in a year when I can celebrate today.
Awesome words to live by. Completely agree. And I appreciate your perspective. So thanks so much for taking the time to spend with me today. Thank you for your service on the board because you're still past president chair right now. Is that your
Yeah,
role? Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So continue to give back, obviously, as your mantra insinuates. And so we are very appreciative of that and look forward to seeing you back in Florida.
Thank you, Laura.